Solidus has a number of checkout steps, and they don't fit the needs for every business. So today we're going to take a look at how to remove or add individual steps. First, we're going to take a look at the vanilla Solidus checkout flow. I've spun up a server here, and we're just going to add this product to the cart. Now, this is going to put the cart in the order in the cart state, which is where you can view your line items or adjust them as needed. But we're going to go ahead and check out and add an example email address. So right now the cart is in the address state, and this is where you put in your delivery address or your billing address. Next up is the delivery state, where we'll select our shipping method. Then the payment state, we'll pay for the order. And then the confirm state. Now this is where we're going to just take a look at the order, make sure that everything is okay, and then go ahead and place it, which puts the order in the complete state. Now the complete state and the cart state are both states that you probably don't want to remove from the checkout flow, but everything else in between can be fully customized, and we're going to show you how. So let's take a look at the state machine in Solidus. You can find that here in the Solidus code base, Solidus core lib spree core state machines order. And this is really where all of the magic happens. It's got some very handy methods like go to state, insert checkout step, remove checkout step. We're going to use these two pretty extensively. The state machine is also included in the order model. And so the only thing we need to do to take advantage of these methods is just decorate the order model. So I've got that set up here in this file, my app spree order decorator, which is located under the decorators folder under app. I've set up this prepender here, which just prepends itself to spree order. And I've gone ahead and populated it with some methods that we'll use throughout this video. So first I'm going to show you how to remove steps from the checkout flow. As you can see here, the only thing you really need to do is base.remove checkout step and then pass in the name of the step. So delivery in this case. Now we can go ahead and take a look at our server here and add to cart, checkout, in our example email, and you can see that the delivery state is no longer there. It just skips directly from address to payment. Now there are a couple of caveats when it comes to removing steps, and we'll just go through a couple of them here. If you remove the address step but keep the delivery step will break because it expects there to be an address to deliver to. If you remove the payment step, and the order has a positive balance, then it won't be able to complete because Solidus expects a positive balance to have an associated payment before completing. If you really want to override this functionality, there's a payment required method that you can override on the order. And if you just set this to false, then no orders will have payment required and they'll all be able to complete. But you really should just make sure that an order that isn't expected to be paid doesn't have a positive balance. And that's all you really need to keep in mind when it comes to removing checkout steps. So we're going to go ahead and move into adding checkout steps. So I've got this method here, insert checkout step, and I've got a new step here that I'm going to add called TOS agreement. And when inserting a checkout step, you usually want to let it know where it comes in the checkout flow. So in this case, I'm telling it that it's going to come before the confirm step. And I'm also just going to go ahead and uncomment these two so that the flow is payment to TOS agreement to confirm, because TOS agreement comes before confirm, and then it completes. So now that we have our custom checkout step added in, there's a couple more things we need to do. First, we need to add a translation for this. Solidus needs to know what the checkout step should be called to display it to the user. So in our English translation file here, we're just adding spree, order state, TOS agreement, and we're defining that as terms and services. So that's how that will be displayed to the customer. The next thing we need to do is add some content for the checkout page. So under views, spree, checkout, I've got this TOS agreement partial, and I've already pre-filled it with some information, and it has a checkbox here saying that you agree to the terms and services, and a submit button, which will allow us to move on to the next step. So with all of that in place, we can go ahead and restart our server and then check out this new checkout step. So I'm going to go here and just go ahead and restart the server. All right, so we'll go ahead and add to cart, checkout. Okay, so you can go ahead and see here that the terms and services step has been added in. We're going to pay with a check and go to the next step. And this is all of our default content. So here's our terms and services. We're going to agree to them, save and continue, and then we'll be able to place the order like normal. So that's how you would add a custom checkout step. There's a couple of extra things that you should know though. If you want to queue up some work before this view is displayed, for example, if you want to create a new object and then pass it to the view, that's pretty easy. We'll just decorate the checkout controller. I've already got a decorator here, so under controllers, my app, checkout controller, I've got this before method. Now the checkout controller, before it goes to any step, will check to see if there's a method called before underscore and then the name of the step. So in this way, without adding any extra logic, we can go ahead and define what we want to happen before the TOS agreement page is displayed to the user. Now in this case, I'm just displaying some garbage in the Rails log, but you could also do something like add agreement equals agreement.new if that were a model that you had on your website, and then this would be passed on to the view. You could really do anything you want here. But let's just check this out and make sure that it works. Okay, so right about there, our before method should have triggered. We can take a look at the logs and see that, yes, all that garbage was printed out. So we know that that before method is working correctly. The other thing I want to point out about adding new methods is if you want to be able to pass your own attributes to the checkout controller, then you need to add them to the permitted attributes, which you can do here or in any initializer. So to do that, you just call spree permitted attributes and then checkout confirm attributes, and then just add whatever attributes you want to add. In this case, we're adding TOS agreement. That is probably just going to be the output of the checkbox that the user checks. We're using checkout confirm attributes here because that is the default attribute set that Solidus uses if it doesn't know what the step that it's going to is, or if it's the confirm step. If you were on the payment step, you would use checkout payment attributes. Address step uses checkout address attributes. And then I think the delivery step uses checkout delivery attributes, but everything else uses this checkout confirm attributes. So that's why we're adding it there. And that's all you need to know about adding new steps. We're going to go back to the order decorator here, and I'm going to set up a new scenario for you. So we run a store where we sell some physical goods and some digital goods, and we want to display the address and delivery checkout steps only when the order contains physical goods. So if the order is physical, then it should have these steps, otherwise it shouldn't. So in that case, we can use some conditions to control that logic. At the top here, I've gone ahead and removed the address and delivery step, and we're going to bring them back conditionally. So I've got this method here called physical, and right now it's set to false. So any order right now, if you call physical on it, will return false, which means that every order is being considered as a digital order. And we'll uncomment these two lines, which insert the delivery and address steps back in, but add this if conditional. So if the order is physical, then it will insert these checkout steps. I'm going to restart my server so we can see that in action. There we go. Now this order is considered digital, so it doesn't contain the address and it doesn't contain the delivery steps. But if we change this method to return true, then all orders will be considered physical. And if we head back here, go to checkout, and we can see that the order does have the address and delivery steps now. So that provides a good amount of customization that you can use on your checkout flow. I'll go ahead and comment these back out. If you need to go a step further than that, though, we still have more options. So we'll head over to the spree.rb initializer, and I'll uncomment this line. So what we're doing here is we're setting the state machine for order to be our state machine that I've defined right here. Now this state machine is inheriting from the order state machine, which means that if I don't have any methods here, it will work exactly like the other one does. But this gives me the opportunity to override the default state machine's methods and then just do whatever I want inside of them. So in this case, I'm pulling over define state machine, and we can go ahead and define our own custom state machine in here that could work a completely different way. Yeah, and that's really all there is to customizing the checkout on Solidus. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you guys learned something. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and we'll see you next time.